All right, guys. Well, here we are. It is Friends Friday, and I know I haven't done this for like a long, long time, but I'm planning on getting back into the swing of things right now. And I know that I've been promising that my good friend Blasé would come on my show for a long, long time. It's just I guess it's my schedule. It's not him. It's my schedule has just, it's really difficult for like to wrangle me down and get it done. But I really wanted to get him on because he's very interesting. And I have the tendency to just not ever shut the fuck up, but I'm going to try to just do a brief introduction to this guy, kind of contextualize it so you guys know how I know him, and then it'll be much more back and forth. So I met Blasé back in, I want to say 2012, 2011 or 2012 when I was at FCI Oxford. And that was the prison that I was at in Wisconsin. It was a medium security federal institution. And honestly, that was the best prison I've ever done time at. I love that place. That place to me seemed more like a boarding school for bad kids than it did an actual prison. You know,
Yeah.
it was mellow right there. They had a weight pile. They had a culinary arts program, so you could get certified for that. But you'd also make the people that were in that would make culinary art creations for the guards that work there. So of course everybody was smuggling like lobster and cheesecake, all sorts of crazy shit. It was crazy. There was a lot of like old like Italian mob dudes there, and like it was just like it was a cool atmosphere. It was mellow. The dudes on the Midwest kind of program in a different way than California. California is just so like on edge all the time, and like being in that environment was really just a huge change of pace because I came from Victorville. I went over there. When I first got there, there was a riot between the Norteños and the Soreños, and the Norteños ended up keeping the yard there. That was the first time I'd ever been around Norteños. And by the time that Blasé had come to that particular prison, I had been kicked out of the drug program because the reason that I went out there in the first place was to take RDAP, which is called Residential Drug and Alcohol Program. It's the only thing in the feds that gives you a year off your sentence. You have to complete a 9-month program. This weird fucking dude tried to move into my cell. He was wearing these big rim horn glasses, and I'm just a judgmental guy. I was like, that guy looks like a fucking pedophile. So I asked him what his charges were. The next day, I got kicked out of the program for trying to check someone's paperwork. They were like, you're acting more like a convict than a patient or whatever. I was like, I'm still in prison. I'm not. Plus, I had pictures of my nieces. I don't want some weirdo to live with me. Anyway, I got kicked out, and I went on this like just downward spiral at this prison. I was doing drugs. I was going in and out of the hole all the time, and I think he showed up around the time that I think I was in the hole when he
He
came.
was.
And
Yeah.
because he's from Rodeo, California, which is in Northern California, it's in the Bay Area, and I was from Santa Barbara. So like you rarely see a white dude that's from California at this place because we're out in the Midwest. So naturally, I was really excited to meet him, and he ended up becoming one of my best friends there. And these guys that I did time with are like literal brothers to me. There's nothing I wouldn't do for these guys. Feel the same way about Ram Nareis and a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
But
Hell yeah.
yeah. And so I talked to Blasé before the interview started. He started doing hip hop a couple years ago, 2-3 years ago, which was a surprise. I actually really like it. I have it on my rotation. I listen to his shit all the time. I really do. I listen to it in my car, and I really like it a lot. And he's just got a really interesting story. So I'm going to do a very, very brief breakdown of what my interpretation of his story is, and then we're going to get into the interview with him. From what I remember, and I talked to him right before the interview, and I was like, is this right? But this is what I remembered from it very briefly. Grew up in Rodeo, like I said, Northern California. He went to state prison for just shy of 4 years, 1 month short of 4 years. How old were you when that happened?
20.
20. Okay. And he got, what was it? Assault on a police officer, battery on a police officer?
Battery on a police officer with great bodily injury.
Attaboy. Um, and so he ended up going to state, got out, and he ends up catching a Fed case. He got caught with 300 pounds of cocaine, which isn't shit. No, I'm just kidding. That's a lot of coke. But Then he goes to federal prison. His father passed away while he was in prison, and his mother passed away as well. She had been indicted federally when the Aryan Brotherhood indictment fell down, I think in like 2004. She had remarried to this guy. He was the head of a chapter, the Hells Angels in Northern California, and she got wrapped up. They got wrapped up in this brand case, this Aryan Brotherhood case, and
Mom did.
Mom did.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, she passed away while he was in there. So his mother and father both passed away while he was in there. And he's had a really tough life, but he's one of the nicest people I've ever met. Very loyal, treated me like a little brother in there. And that's my little introduction. Now we're going to go through and we're going to kind of break down that story little by little. So first of all, thank you for coming on my show, Blasé. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, bro. It's been a long time coming. I couldn't wait to come over here and kick it with you.
I haven't seen you for so long. I was supposed to come up to one of your shows in Northern California. I forget weren't you, who was it? Be Real? Who was it?
Be Legit. I opened up for Be Legit.
Oh, Be Legit. Okay. Yeah. E40's, that's the E40's brother, right?
It's his,
cousin or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Be Legit. And I was going to go with Boston George's daughter, Christina Sunshine, and my manager, Jose, and one of the producers for my documentary. They went, didn't they?
Hell yeah. I was surprised. I was jazzed up because I did the interview for him for your documentary, right?
Yeah, so Jose.
That wasn't the first time I met him, but I was surprised. I was jacked up when I seen him come and watch the show. That was dope. I was happy to see him, man.
Yeah, and he's good friends with him. He's good friends with E40, and it was probably cool meeting Boston George's daughter. Definitely the victim in that whole situation. She's a sweetheart. And okay, so my tire blew out. Everybody knows that. Carlos Tires and somewhere up in Northern, fuck them. Thank you for the 100 and 200 people that wrote a fucked up Yelp review for them for trying to rip my family off. So I guess let's go back to the beginning. Let's talk about, if you want, I'd like to hear about your first case, how you grew up, how you started getting into trouble. Where did it all go bad?
Yeah, God, where did it all go bad? I grew up in it, man. It's like I always tell people, my childhood eventually was weekend visits to Folsom. You know what I mean? We'd be staying in the little motels around the area, and we'd be diving for pennies. And my mom, my dad would be going in there and visiting my dad's brother, my dad's friends, because my dad did time too. My dad went in 69 to 76, came home, met my mom, had me, and my brother and all that. So, but he remained loyal and in contact with them. But I was raised in the game. You know what I mean? Both my parents were shucking and jiving in that fast life. You know what I mean? So my dad was a player, bro. You know what I mean? So he was always in and out of relationships with my mom, and then you know, me and my brother started coming of age and all that type of shit to where we kind of understood what was going on. And then it's just, we started, you know, I think I took some volumes that I found in my mom's, right? And my dad and my mom weren't together. My dad flipped out about it, wanted me to move in with him. And then my mom was like, man, you don't have to. And that's kind of where shit really went south. You know what I mean? I started doing hard drugs, and I was a dope fiend like a motherfucker from like 13 to 20. When I went to state prison, I finally stopped doing meth. But that meth had me fucked up, bro. So I mean, I was selling drugs, doing drugs, but like in that time frame, bro, I was a lost soul, bro. It was like there wasn't nothing nice about me, you know what I mean? I was just an ugly individual. And I think that's what kept me from going back and ever doing crank, just because or crystal, whatever it's called these days. But when I went to state prison, bro, I dwelled on that shit. I dwelled on lying to my family and just being an ugly person, stealing from my family, It was just, I didn't like the person I was on that. But so while I'm out there in this meth incident or this meth craze phase of my life, I get pulled over. I'm with a couple girls. The cops try to arrest me. I start fighting both the cops. One of the cops ended up getting a broken leg. And so I actually bailed out under a fucking alias name. I called my mom and was all, hey, Mom, this is Wayne. And my mom was like, where are you? And I was all, Solano County Jail. So my mom bailed me out before the fingerprint shit could run through. So I was on the run from that. Then I ended up getting caught at my mom's. They raided my mom's. They found 90 grams of dope. They charged my brother, me, and my mom all for 30 grams of dope apiece. So I got sentenced to 2.5 years on that crime. I was in San Quentin when Solano County came to pick me up for the dope or for the cop case. And I went out there and I caught the 4 years, 4 months at 85% or whatever, which is why I did the 1 month shy of 4 years on the state case.
It's interesting, like, you know, I did know that you were a drug addict at one point, but it's weird because by the time I met you, you were probably like one of the most undope fiend people I've ever met. You know, like you had patience, loyalty, generosity, usually the things that the dope fiends don't have, you know. And we ended up running a poker table together. And I was like the dope fiend, like instant gratification. We need this money now. But you were like, you know, the cool, calm, and collected one, and you had more of the vision. That was a good time in prison when we were running that poker table.
Hell yeah.
It was like, you know, we were doing good at that point. Okay, so you got off drugs when you were 20 because you went to prison. And what happened after that point? Because we get from that state prison term to you doing, you know, the big Fed term that you did, getting caught with 300 pounds of cocaine. How did that happen? And like, how did you get from that state case to where I met you?
I would say it was I want to say it was luck. You know what I mean? I came home, I was a different person. I wasn't a fucking little weasel dope fiend, you know what I mean? So obviously people will take you more serious when, you know what I mean, when you're not a fucking J-Cat. So and honestly, homie, I didn't know like how serious the situation I had gotten myself into. You know what I mean? It was like, hey, look, we're gonna do this, and then like we're gonna be put into a real nice position, right? You know what I mean? So and me being a loyal individual, I was like, fuck it. Sounds good to me. This is my life dream, is to be a fucking big time fucking drug dealer. You know what I mean? At that time, obviously my expectations in life have drastically changed, but so I was just hustling, bro. You know what I mean? And I wasn't burning no bridges. I feel like people that were in that lifestyle respected me. So, you know, it was like one of the things where one thing led to another, and before you know it, I'm on the road, and I'm on my. I thought I was on my way to a success story, but I was on my way to a FCI somewhere.
American Dreams, Federal Nightmares.
Hell yes, exactly. That's exactly what it was.
So was it the kind of thing where, you know, I was on a petty case, man. You know, maybe in my peak, I'm selling a couple pounds of heroin a week. I'm selling ecstasy by the kilo, but nothing crazy, not hundreds of pounds or anything. It sounds from what you just said, that it was like a progressive thing and that you kind of worked your way up to that? Or was it the kind of thing where you started kind of doing big boy shit from the get-go?
Well, fuck, bro. I had got out at the end of 2001, right? And by 2002, I feel like I was fucking up. You know what I mean? I was because, you know, contrary to what people think, in my opinion, prison is easy. You come out here to the streets, man, and you're dealing with uncertainty. It's not programmed like prison is. So, you know, for the most part, when you're in prison, you know what to expect every day. You know what I mean? And then you get out to the streets and you can't get a license or for whatever the fuck is going on. So you're having to fucking try to catch rides back and forth to work. You know what I mean? You're driving 2 hours away from where you live. So somebody's having to drive you halfway to that place, and then your welder's having to. So long story short, man, it just became frustrating for me. And then I was like, man, fuck this. And I'm living with my mom. So it was like real easy for me to go back to being a fucking dumbass. So I went back to the street life. However, I wasn't using. So I stayed out. I was out for 21 months, bro. And I mean, I was fucking up the whole time, but I mean, I was pissing dirty for my parole officer. I'm on parole at this time too. So, but I'm pissing clean for my parole officer. I'm doing, it seems like I'm doing the right thing, but I wasn't doing the right thing. Then I got arrested and, for a DUI. They wanted to send me back for a fucking year. And since my crime in the state prison was considered a violent crime, it would have been a flat year. But the parole board ended up giving me 9 months flat. First DUI or first violation the whole fucking time. Been out 21 months. They sent me back for 270 fucking days straight.
What a waste of fucking resources.
270 fucking days, bro. First DUI I'd ever had in my fucking life, right? Yeah. So then I got out. So I got out on February 29th, 2004. It was the leap year or whatever. And from that day to 6 months later in September when I got arrested, it just like, I was involved with, I was doing something with somebody that I didn't quite understand, like what kind of level that we was actually on, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? It wasn't.
Yes, I relate to that. Same thing happened with me. I didn't know I was mixed up with the cartel. I just thought, you know, I was.
My shit. I'm not no motherfucking Boston George story. You know what I mean? I wasn't fucking doing nothing on no, like crazy ass level. You know what I mean? It was like one of them things where like, I felt like looking back on it, it was like we was going to scratch somebody's back, and then the return favor was going to be fucking like the best outcome that you could get in the dope game. You know what I mean? Like do us this solid, man. When you guys get back, you're going to be taken care of.
Oh, that wasn't your coke?
No.
Okay. Well, I didn't know that. Okay. Okay. So that makes a lot more. Okay. I totally am starting to understand that now. So, okay. What was it like? Well, I mean, you were making money though when you were doing it, right? Like, like what, like, I mean, like what level do you think you were on, like money wise? You know, maybe not everybody, you know, has sold coke or has hustled, has been part of that lifestyle. What do you think you could put it in like relatable terms so that somebody that's never been around that kind of shit could know what kind of your financial situation was at that time?
Oh fuck, bro. I feel like I was comfortable, you know what I mean? I was everybody that was around me was having fun, you know what I mean? It was like one of those things where like cuz I had a Harley back then, so if I went and got a chrome kit from my Harley, I brought my brother a chrome kit. You know what I mean? If my brother needed a fucking computer setup for his house, I get him a computer setup for his fucking house. Whenever we went out, I'm buying everybody everything. So, I mean, I wasn't living an extravagant lifestyle, but I mean, I had fun, bro. You know what I mean? Whatever I was doing, I was making enough money to make sure that everybody around me, we was all having fun. You know, I wasn't driving fucking Maseratis and motherfucking Lamborghinis and shit like that, but that's where I felt I was headed. You know what I mean? That's where I wanted to be. And I felt like I was that trip away from being there. But
okay, that's what my next question was going to be. How far away do you think you were from that like level? Okay, so
I was 5 days.
5 days.
5 days.
All right. So when you end up, and I am definitely conscientious of your time, I'm trying to get through this because I want to talk about your music as well. When you get pulled over in Utah, can you tell us about that case in particular?
Fuck, bro. My goofy ass was, first of all, speeding. I was going like 6 miles over the speed limit. But the cop asked me where I was coming from, and I told him the specific motel. Then my co-defendant told him the borderline, because that's where we was at. We was like on the borderline of Nevada and Utah. And so he said, well, your partner just said you guys stayed at the Hilton or whatever. And he goes, yeah, we did stay at the Hilton at the borderline of these two. He goes, man, your guys' story don't add up, man. And you're acting fucking nervous or whatever. Allegedly, the cop asked my co-defendant if he could search the car. And allegedly, my co-defendant said, yeah. But out of the whole traffic stop audio recording, that's the only fucking part of the whole audio that you can't hear. But I know that what saved my life is the cop immediately pulled me out of the cop car, out of my car and put me in the cop car. And the whole traffic stop was on video. And at one point, he gave me a warning for speeding and told me I was good to go, which ended up saving my life, because had he not done that, had he like followed the proper procedure of all of the traffic stop from start to finish, I would have got a lot more time. But he never got consent to continue on with the traffic stop after he issued me a warning for speeding. So long story short, man, he allegedly got permission from my co-defendant to search the car, which my co-defendant adamantly denies.
What kind of car? You had 300 pounds of coke in there?
Yeah, bro.
What kind of car?
It was like a hoopty. Like you'd have never thought.
How'd you have it packaged?
It was just sitting in the fucking trunk, bro.
Damn.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know, I'm in shock right now. I'm just thinking about it. And no fault. Look, man, when I was doing my thing, when anybody's doing their thing, you feel fucking invincible. It's easy come, easy go. You have all this money. Everybody wants to be around you. Girls, car, everything. And so you don't feel like it's going to come crashing down like that. I get it. And then you were facing a life sentence. Is that what they were telling you when you first got busted, that you were that you might do life?
Yeah. But the little do you have anything you want to say? No. And he goes, because when they pulled me and my co-defendant in, they obviously pulled us one at a time. The whoever it was, I think it was the DEA dude or whatever, but he pulled me in there. They read me my rights, and he goes, well, now that you know your rights, is there anything that you would like to talk about? And I said, I don't even understand what's there to talk about. I said, as far as I know, I'm being arrested for being out of bounds on parole. And he started laughing. He goes, no, you're being arrested for a substantial amount of narcotics. And I said, well, if I'm being arrested for a substantial amount of narcotics, I think I should talk to an attorney, right? And he started laughing, and he goes, hey, so what are these guys facing? And I was like, life. I'm not trying to hear all that. And then he goes, well, at least you was a little more polite than your co-defendant. He told us to go fuck ourselves. But yeah, so long story short, yeah, they was telling us that we was facing life.
Oh, man. And so what's that like? I mean,
Bro.
I was facing 10 to life. Just the fact that the word life was included in that, it didn't ever sit right with me. But you were like facing life.
Especially because in the feds, life means natural life.
That's it.
There's
no parole.
Is deceased.
Yeah.
So, but honestly, bro, I was like, I don't know if I would say I was in shock. When my first attorney came up to see me before I got Tony Serra and Randy Darr, which are like the god of attorneys in the Bay Area, I had another attorney come up, and before I even sat down to talk to this fool, I was like, hey, is there conjugal visits in the feds? And this fool was like, we haven't got there yet. I said, I'm already there, motherfucker. My mind is in a fucking federal prison cell somewhere in this system. I mean, I need to know what I have to look forward to and what I don't have to look forward to. And he was like, they don't have no conjugal visits in the feds. And I was heartbroken. Then you know what bothered me the most, bro, is that it was like you would think, man, I'm going to spend the rest of my life in jail. You know what I mean? This is fucking horrible. But the thing that fucking plagued me the most was that I didn't have any kids. You know what I mean? That depressed me. I was like, man, I'm never going to get the feeling of what it feels like to have a child. You know what I mean? And that out of all of it is what depressed me, man. I was like, this is fucking terrible, man. What a fucking poor decision.
And incidentally, he has 2 kids now, and he's a great father. Really cool to see. You were a dad before I was a dad, and I was like, man, that's the kind of dad I want to be like, you know. So
yeah,
definitely
being
recognize that.
Being a parent has been a struggle for me, though, bro. I know that there's times where I definitely feel like I wasn't ready. You know what I mean? Even today, at my son's 6 years old now, sometimes I still feel like I wasn't ready. You know what I mean? It's I don't want to say that like my mindset was I want my kids to have a better life than me or whatever, because I mean, through all the bullshit, my parents had great hearts. My mom was lost like we were lost when we were in the game. You know what I mean? You get caught up with the money, the fast life, the glory of it all, and you just forget. Like sometimes shit that's common sense isn't common when you're living real fast. You know what I mean? Like you don't think about what the effects of your actions are having on your kids and all that type of shit. But I feel like my mom had a wonderful heart. My mom was as loyal as they came. You know what I mean? Like my mom went and laid down. My mom went and did 5 years, bro, for in the paperwork, in the indictment. Like her involvement, and what they said was it was so small that, but like my mom could have done anything, but my mom went and did 5 years like a hog. You know what I mean? And she was just that's my mom just had a great heart. My dad was the same way. They loved us, but they were just misguided, man. Both of them were probably still immature, whatever, but I just say all that to say, you know, I feel like raising my kids, it was like it's been challenging, bro, because like I said, I don't want them to grow up the way I did, and I don't know. I know I struggle with it, man. I probably am hard on my son. I spoil my daughter too much. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, I got
it's hard, bro.
Yeah, man.
But it's rewarding.
You're a great dad. I know that. I see it. You know, it was really interesting to see that. You know, last time I saw it, I guess last time was for my documentary. That was what, a couple years ago or something?
Yeah, it's been a few years, man.
Yeah. And we've hung out a couple times before that out here in the free world. We don't really need to, unless you want to. I think we can kind of just go past when you know, your mother and father passed away, but that both happened while you were on your Fed case. Were you already sentenced at that point?
Yeah, that was I got sentenced in 2005, I think, and that happened in 2009.
And you got 15 years?
I got 12 and a half.
12 and a half years, and then both your parents passed away while you were in there.
Yeah.
What was that like? Like, I mean, what does that do to you? That's like my greatest fear anytime that I've been in prison, and now both of my parents are having major health issues, but, you know, at least I'm out here. I could never imagine what that would feel like in prison. I mean, you know, I've had, you know, women leave me, and that's nothing even close, but all that shit is amplified so fucking much when you're in a cage and all you have is to think about that shit. So I can only imagine what that felt like. I mean, I can't even imagine. What did that do to you in there? How did you cope with it?
Man, bro, like it trips me out because I talk about that situation all the time. Because first of all, like I was, my mom had the cancer, so we were kind of expecting that. And then I always told my family, like, if when something goes wrong with mom, don't call the institution, because I don't want somebody that I don't know coming up to me and sit me in a room telling me that my mom died or whatever. I said, just send me an email and I'll call. So my sister sends me an email and says, call me. So I just got this kind of sick feeling, you know what I mean? I didn't know how I was going to react, but I get on the phone with my sister, and my sister said, hey, Dad's in a coma. He overdosed on these pills, and I was like, I don't understand, you know what I mean? And she's like, fuck, it's not looking good, you know what I mean? This fool's fucking, he's probably not gonna make it, you know what I mean? He's on life support or whatever. So I'm like, fuck, I'm sitting here expecting this to be the call about my mom passing away. Then I call and find out that my dad is in a fucking coma on life support. So anyways, like a couple of days later, they're like, man, all of his internal organs or whatever are shutting down, and it's just fucking, we can't, it's like pointless at this time or something. So they took him off the life support. My dad was adamant about that. If I'm ever on life support, pull the plug. I don't want to be in that situation. So they pulled the plug, and like 8 or 9 days later, my mom passed away. But I always trip on how I dealt with it, man, because it was like, and I don't know if this was like our human defense mechanisms, but it was like I was so fucking, I don't want to say callous, but it was like, bro, it's almost like I didn't feel what it felt like. When the very first time that I felt what it felt like to not have my parents is when I was transferred from Tucson to Oxford. You know what I mean? Because it was like, you know how it is, bro. When, hey, you're going to do something new. You're going to be on a bus. You're going to places you're unfamiliar with. So you call and talk to your parents. Hey, man, I'm getting ready to go to this place. You know what I mean? And it's just like, just to talk to them always made it easier. The transition's always easier when you could talk to your parents. Can I have milk? You could have some water, babe. But so when I made that transfer, bro, it was like, man, there was a few times, bro, when I was over there in MDC Chicago, where I was like, man, I walked past the phone. Even like there was one time specifically where I felt myself walking up to the phone, man, like I was gonna call my mom and my dad. And I was like, fuck, man. And at this time, that's what, like 3 years later. But at the time, homie, it didn't feel real. You know what I mean? It was like I felt like I had to force myself to be emotional about it. You know what I mean? And then I started questioning whether or not prison fucked me up. Because, it's like you said, the people leave you. People come in and out of your fucking life. Your best friends in there, you figure out, are fucking snakes. You know what I mean? And it's just like letdown after letdown after letdown. And you start to think, do I feel anything anymore? Both my parents just fucking died within 10 days of each other. And I don't even cry about it. You know what I mean? And it's like, what the fuck is wrong with me? So for a long time, I started questioning, man, am I going to, did all this shit, like the game and the betrayal and all that shit that I've been through, just make me callous to where normal emotions that people feel, I no longer feel, because it's just like emotionally numb or something. But
how many years had you been down at that point?
5.
Okay. Jesus, man. And you weren't doing heroin, or you weren't getting
Nothing.
high at all?
Nothing.
That's it.
Yep.
Wow.
Which what's crazy, and I told people this too, is I felt like me not being intoxicated helped me, because you go in there, you start doing your drugs, it masks the shit for a little while, then you wake up the next day and you're feeling even more fucked up because you just got high to to relieve some of the pain and all that type of shit, and then all the pain just comes flushing back 10 times worse.
That's how
So it's just,
my friend Paul's death was, because I was strung out when he died, and when I got sober, it was just like
yeah,
reality just avalanched on me, and yeah, man, and I felt that weight, you know, and yeah, just man,
yeah.
more power to you though.
Yeah, I feel I'm glad that I wasn't fucking up at that time, bro. You know what I mean? So, but I took it, and like I said, there's moments here and there, like I said, when I got transferred, it was like, man, this is the first time in my life that I had to do anything that was like a drastic change that I didn't have my parents to lean on. You know what I mean? When I got arrested, and I in my heart, I knew, I was like, I'm never going home. And I got a call and I tell my dad, blood, this is it. You know what I mean? I just made a mistake, man. You know what I mean? And fucking and this is probably it. You know what I mean? But me being able to talk to him, it was like, made it easier. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, man, I'm be able to chop it up with my family for the rest of my life, whatever. I'm sure that they'll help me make this, however long I end up doing in this motherfucker, make it a little bit easier on me. You know what I mean? But so like a long story short, bro, I didn't, when it happened, I definitely did not feel what I thought I would feel. You know what I mean? I always was in my heart like, man, when my mom and dad die, I'm gonna die. It's I won't know what to do. I'm gonna have a fucking breakdown and all that type of shit. But it wasn't like that, man. But like these days, man, there's certain shit that happens and I'll get emotional. You know what I mean? Like the birth of my kids, like the fact that my mom and my dad never got to meet my kids. That shit tugs at me, man. And because fuck, once my dad and my mom matured, well, my dad specifically, my mom, when she came home, she was sick. So, but like once my dad matured, man, my dad was, he was a great father, you know what I mean? And I know that fool would have been an amazing grandfather. Same with my mom, you know what I mean? But, so shit like that tugs at me, man. And it makes me emotional or whatever. And it makes me realize that I'm not emotionally numb, you know what I mean? Anybody that has had a child and you know that, man, you're full of all the emotions you thought the life of crime and all that shit took away from you. You realize that you still have all that shit, man. So
Yeah, man.
I know I got long-winded on that one, but
No. That's extremely powerful. You definitely had me captivated. I'm sorry that happened to you. I can't even imagine what that would be like. I know that you're going to have to go. I want to do another video with you. So I want to do 2 videos because I think there's a lot of ground to cover. Federal versus state prison. There's just other stuff that I think we could go into for longer. Before I'm going to ask you about that story that I asked you about with the dude from that prison, if you want to tell that story, and then I'm going to let you go because I know you got to be somewhere. But be sure to check out Blasé's music. It's on Spotify as Blasé, Blase. I'll leave links in the pinned comments to Spotify, to his YouTube channel. Subscribe, check out his stuff. Be sure to do that to support him. Definitely support my friends, and I really like his music. I have a few friends that are rappers, and like I actually listen to your guys' shit all the time because I actually really like it. I don't think I'm friends with anybody that's doing music right now that I don't actually like, and I'm so happy how much I love I listen to probably your stuff every day, I'd imagine. It's like on my playlist, and I think everybody should check it out. It really reflects the lifestyle he's been through,
That shit, well, you could relate to a lot of the stuff that I rap about too. So I feel like it's easy for you. But what's crazy, bro, is my lady sent me a picture the other day, right? And it was a live picture. So I clicked on the live, and in the background was my music. And I was like, oh, that's dope. You know what I mean? She didn't intentionally let me know that she was listening to my music. She was sending me a picture of something completely off music topic. But she
Yeah.
was like, how did you know I was listening to your music? I said, the picture is live. And she goes, I didn't even know that. But it made me feel good. You know what I mean? Because, you know, you think that the people that care about you the most, of course, they're going to hype you up. They probably will listen to your music with a different ear than other people will. So, but when you realize that people really actually fuck with your music, man, it's like, it's a different feeling, man. You know what I mean?
I fuck with your music. Yeah, and I know what you're talking about. I have similar stuff, and you know, like not music, but I put books out, whatever, you know,
Oh,
and so
for sure, the book.
you know, so I know what you mean, and it's like always cool, like when I meet somebody and like they're like a genuine fan of it. I'm always stoked. I don't
Yeah,
understand how people get famous and then like they like, oh, I don't want to talk to the civilians anymore. I always look down on people that are like that. I know you would never be like that. I'm just saying it's crazy. I got like some friends that are whatever, you know, well-known people, and I see other people, not my friends, but people that they know, just treat people like shit. It's like I am so flattered and so appreciative. Anytime anybody likes anything that I do, I'm like, I'll forever be grateful for that. And it's so cool that you're experiencing that now, because I know that feeling, and it's very gratifying when you bare your soul with literature, with music, with art, anything, and you put it out and it hits and it resonates with people and people like what you do. It fucking feels
yeah.
good, man. It's
Hell
validating.
yeah. And we appreciate that shit more, probably because of where we came from. You know what I mean? When you've dealt with the shit that we dealt with, man, when people show you love and show you appreciation for what you're doing, and you know, because a lot of times what people overlook is all forms of art seem to help people. You know what I mean? It's like I can't tell you, like Jeezy Soul Survivor, homie. When that shit came on, when I was fighting my case, bro, that shit put me somewhere else. You know, it helped me get through something. And when people reach out to you and tell you, man, your music helps me get through and this and that, and shit, because we've been through this, the shit that we've been through, we appreciate that shit more. And we will never overlook the people that get us to whatever level we end up getting to.
Absolutely, man. No, for sure. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I mean, you know, with me now it's the videos, and people say, hey, your videos help me, or I watch them, or you know, whatever. It definitely makes
Yeah.
what we're doing feel like it's definitely worth doing.
Dude, my
And
little brother said that he was going to sleep on your videos every fucking night. He's now watching it every fucking night.
that's cool.
Yeah.
I love when I hear shit like that. Last story, and then we're gonna do a second part of this. Like I go through little cycles where I'm like really about like, all right, I'm hungry, I want to do content, I want to do all this. I'm in that stage right now. And then there's other flat periods where I'm like, I'm so busy with other shit I don't want to, but I'm in a good phase, so let's get another video in. But the last thing I want to ask you, and then we'll do an entire video at a different point about other stuff that I didn't bring up. There's this story when I met him. So I met him, like I said before, I was in the hole when he came to Oxford. Do you remember how long I was in there for? Was I in there
Uh,
for a while?
I think maybe a month or something. It wasn't very long.
Okay. And so when I
That's by
got,
the time I got there. I don't know how long you was in there leading up to me getting there, but
I don't know. I was in there so often at that point because I just gave up. Like I got my year taken. I was like, fuck this place. I'm just gonna party, you know. And
I don't blame you.
yeah, I was fed up. But anyway, when I met you, first of all, one of the first fucking things we did is exchange paperwork, and we're like, look, we're good, you know. We didn't,
Bro,
we're not
I
weirdos. We didn't.
tell that
We didn't
story so often. I said, listen, out of all the time I've ever done, Leone was the only motherfucker that, and I said, he didn't come up and like, let me see your paperwork. He was like, hey, I got my paperwork over here in my property. And I was like, I get what you're saying, homeboy. I got mine over here too. I'll give you mine. You're like, no, wait till I get mine. I said, nah, you can take mine right now. But yeah, I tell that story all the time. That shit to this day had me cracking up.
Hell yeah. And like our whole group, by the way, was a solid group of people. Every single person in there. Did you see Ryan on PBS last night?
No.
Yeah, he was on, you probably started to see it, the spectacular, my spectacular moment. It's like a 5-minute clip. You've seen that on Facebook.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They premiered it last night. It was
Oh
cool.
wow, I gotta check that out.
Yep. Anyway, when I had met, yeah, no, it's not to brush that aside. That dude has done big things
Oh,
with himself, and I'm really proud of him.
he's an amazing man, man.
Definitely, as are you. And so
Likewise.
when I first met you, the first thing I heard about you was that you beat up. What I heard is they're like, hey, he just came from this other yard and he took off on a cop, right? He like beat up law enforcement on a different yard. That is the thing. People
Hold
don't
on, bro.
realize in the feds, there's no GP or PC, right? So there's weirdos and pieces of shit everywhere. They're like fucking Pac-Man ghosts. Like around every corner, there's some fucking weirdo. So you kind of have to like have your own little select circle and you check your friend's paperwork, whatever. And like you said, we do it in a polite way. Hey, here's this fine. Like, like, hey, let me see your shit, right? Anyway, you do that in California, though. That's how it is in California. So
Yeah.
from there, you kind of like, schooled that way. But anyway, so I heard that you'd beat up a cop and then you got transferred from the spot you were at in Arizona to Oxford. Can you touch on that? And then we'll go and we'll do a second video.
Yeah. So my homeboys come up to me and they tell me, hey, there's a dude on the yard that's law enforcement, or ex-law enforcement. He did some the way they explained it to me, like this dude was doing some nasty, nasty shit to people. And my way of thinking is that's unacceptable. They're cops, we're criminals. If the fact that this dude was doing some shady shit does not make him one of us. He's a fucking cop, and I'm not okay with this. So somebody told me, they was like, hey, Maddie, skinhead dude from Nevada says that he speaks for this dude. So I was like, let me go talk to the dude. Me and the dude kind of had a rapport with each other. So I'm like, hey, I go up and I tell him, I said, one of your workout partners is a fucking ex-cop. And he says, do you have the paperwork? I said, listen, homeboy, I'm giving you my word that I seen it with my own eyes, which was a lie. But if you had came to me and told me you sat there and read this dude's shit and you know that he was fucked up, I'm going to take your word for it. I'm going to be like, that you saying that to me is as good as me reading it. You know what I mean? So, so I go and I tell the dude, your boy's a fucking cop. And he asked me about the paperwork. Long story short, they end up having his cellie go check his paperwork. And his paperwork doesn't say like ex law enforcement or whatever. It says like to this day, I don't know what it says. So they come out and they're like, this dude isn't a cop. And I said, I'm telling you that the fucking dude is a fucking cop. And he goes, well, he's walking by right now. You want to go talk to the dude? And I was like, yeah. So me, the skinhead from Vegas, and a couple other dudes go out there and we're talking to this dude and we're walking with the dude. So I intentionally walk up like close behind him. And I could see the dude tighten up. His whole body language changed. And right then I know something's wrong with this fucking guy. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, you're good.
Mama. Babe. So
That was literally 1 second. All right, go on.
That's my lady. She called me twice, which is rare. So I got nervous that something was wrong. So anyways, I see that this dude is nervous. And right then I know that what my homeboys told me is the facts. So we're walking and the fucking dude, like, so the one dude from Vegas tells him, hey, listen, were you a law enforcement, any kind of cop or whatever? He says no. So he goes, okay, well, you're going to have to send us a fucking, like a full Googled. And at this time, I don't even know what Googled is. He goes, you're going to have to Google your name and send us everything that comes up. So then we're still walking. We finally hit the big yard. And one of the dudes is like, man, what the fuck, homeboy? Was you or was you not a cop? And this dude was like, I was a cop, but it was for a cause. So I fucking took off on this motherfucker. I'm like, what the? fuck does that mean? But I didn't even wait that long. I mean, as soon as this motherfucker says, and honestly, I can't lie. When this motherfucker admitted it, it made me feel good. You know what I mean? I was like, fuck, my homeboys fucking didn't stir me wrong. You know what I mean? I could take off on this motherfucker and everything's gravy. You know what I mean? So I whooped this motherfucker's ass on me, and you want to know what's fucking crazy is I got to the hole, and I mean, I don't know who the fuck told on me, but the fucking investigators come in and they go, kind of ironic that the only one that didn't tell on you was the cop. I was like, what the fuck? Oh no. So yeah, it was
that's a great story. That's how I met him. That's his reputation. His reputation preceded him. But anyway, we're right at the 2:30 mark. I'm gonna let you go so that you can go take care of whatever you got to take care of. But let's do this again. I think that you were a great guest. Down to do this whenever.
I'm doing something.
Like I said, my schedule's a lot more open now, so I'll have you back on whenever you'd like. And be sure.
Well,
go ahead.
Next time, I hope that we could do it with more time. I don't like I hated that I had a limited time on this or whatever. You know, I wish that we would have just been able to freestyle and go for as long as we wanted. But next time we'll try to arrange it to where there is no time restraints.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's we'll get a longer one in. I want to ask you like what federal versus state prison was like. I want to talk to you more about your music career, what you're doing now, what you want to do, et cetera, et cetera. Again, Blasé, Blase. It's on Spotify. I'll leave pinned comments for the Spotify, for his YouTube, et cetera. Give him a subscribe. Go give him downloads on Spotify. Follow him on Spotify. All of that. Anything else? Social media. I'll put all those links on the pinned comments.
Hell yeah, I appreciate it, bro.
Hey, it was really nice to see you, man. It's been too long.
Likewise.
Let's try to get together when the documentary premieres. Since you're in it, come down to LA. I think we might be doing a premiere up there too, since Jose and that crew of people are up in Northern California.
Oh, me and my lady will come to LA for sure.
Okay. All right.
I would love that.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. We'll have you there. So anyway, guys, appreciate Blasé coming on. Thank you very much. I will see you later. Like, comment, subscribe, check out patreon.com/Ryan Leone and all the Blasé links. They'll be in the pinned comments.
Palabra. Good shit.
Palabra.